right, Barren Creek, North Fork Barren Creek, head up to the lake, over here through the burn area, pass by Trail Creek Lakes and down the creek back. All right, Tucson and Massachusetts.
Yep. Originally from Massachusetts.
Yeah, I can hear that.
Get it done today, my friend.
Have a good 10 days.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Back out in the Sawtooths again for another adventure trail run. I did change my mind a little bit. I'm going with the Arc'teryx Sylan Pro today. I was somewhat nervous about taking them straight out of the box on such a big mountain loop, but I figured I'm here. Ran in the LD4 yesterday. Why not make it a full Arc'teryx mountain weekend? Skirting the South Fork of the Payette River here. You can see those peaks in the distance. That's why they call it the Sawtooth here. I'll be heading up that creek, so I'll have that jagged ridge line off to my right for the first part of the run. I did switch over to a vest today. I am carrying a little bit more stuff with me. Got 2 bottles today, actually. I wanted to have that 27 milliliter salt flask in the lower rear here. I have the same other kind of stuff. Camera gear, in reach, extra fuel, bunch more gels this time actually, because I know I'll probably be out in a 4 to 5 hour range. Probably about a 20 miler in total today. I did also bring that Raide Hydro Pack flask here. I've got the Alpha pack on today from Ultraspire. Why didn't I go with the Raide belt LF2L today? I kind of didn't want to load it up too much without having that first fully loaded test be in a more controlled type of environment. Going out for say 5 hours without really knowing how it's gonna feel fully loaded. I don't know, I just figured, especially second day out here, maybe more tired at certain stages of this run, better to have the vest and be comfortable knowing I could load it up and just feel okay. I know I could take this a longer distance without a problem. This route is actually pretty good because at least I have a rolling section tracking along the river here to at least for a little while get a feel for the Sylan Pro. Definitely feels different noticeably right away from the LD4 yesterday. Yesterday's run, I pretty much started going uphill right away. Like a lot of climbing, steady, and then just get up there and run right back down. So this part was definitely forested the last time I ran it last year. Yeah, look at the contrast between the colors of the grasses and the wildflowers growing back, charred sections of the trees and the fallen trees right next to them on the ground. It's burned, but at the same time, still feels very vibrant. Nature coming back here. Hello, morning. Here we are, Sawtooth Wilderness.
Yeah.
Have a good hike. Just turned up Barren Creek. You can see the jagged peaks coming into view. So 2 miles in, 22 minutes right now. First impressions, very first impressions on the Sylan Pro. It's definitely a more strapped down fit and feel over, say, the ball of the foot and even a little bit into the toe box. Definitely feel less volume, less vertical space compared to the LD4. I feel like it's really pushing down on top of my foot. You do have the vamp up front there, stretchy material, which runs along the middle of the toes there, should allow some stretch. Again, this shoe is pretty brand new. It's a matrix upper, feels quite stiff out of the box. I'm sure there's gonna be a little bit of break-in before this upper loosens up. Yeah, this is super cool. So aside from that shallower fit over the top of the toes and a little bit over the ball of the foot, I'd say the rocker geometry is more evident in this shoe. Definitely compared to the LD4. If I was running in a different shoe yesterday, it might not be quite as evident, but that LD4 had more of a flatter profile, a little bit of rocker up front, definitely more, I guess, mountain oriented, technically oriented. This with the rocker geometry gives a little bit more kind of running efficiency, not just a pure mountain shoe here. Not the ride exactly, but the feel underfoot is somewhat similar to the Vective setup from the North Face. I'm feeling that rocker more prominently pushing up in the middle of my foot under the arch, which I talked about this with the Vective shoes. I really like it, and I think it makes the shoe more secure because it's just pushing the shoe up into the bottom of the middle of my foot. Obviously that makes it more snug around the middle of the shoe, and it also kind of naturally seats the heel better in the heel cup. And with this one, that I was talking about earlier, a little lower volume over the top of the toes and the forefoot. So I kind of feel strapped to the midsole outsole of the shoe pretty securely all the way from the front of the shoe to the heel. It's a very good and secure feeling. I was kind of nervous about the rocker geometry and also maybe the fit of the shoe for this kind of big 20-mile loop, but really like 3-4 miles in here, I think I have no reservations, even this early on. Good time to talk specs here as I mosey on up this creek. I think all Arc'teryx shoes are 6 mil drop. At least the LD4 and this Sylan Pro are. I measured 38 at the heel, so that gives 38, 32 full stack. If you check out Arc'teryx website for this shoe, they list a very precise 28.6 or something, and 23 or 22 point something, I guess. Quite a big difference from what they list and what they measure. You do have 6 mil lugs in this shoe, which is pretty nice, especially for mountain terrain. That's why I like to measure the shoes. What you see on that website, it may not give you the impression that it's as cushioned or as protective as it really is. My measurement for the LD4 was 31.25, again 6 mil drop. That's where I came up. See now, look at these peaks, kind of surrounded here now, all sides. Pretty fun. The rocker geometry is definitely evident in this shoe. I could feel, especially when it flattens out and slight descents there, I could feel the shoe really being a lot more runnable than the LD4. LD4 is nice, but more flexible underfoot. I feel like it's more for uneven, technical terrain. It would certainly handle that stuff better than this shoe. More ground feel. This one, as I'm landing right dead center in that rocker in the middle of the foot, leading into the ball of the foot, just feels really great underfoot. Definitely can feel the efficiency from that geometry here. We have a little crossing here. Wet testing commencing. Oh, this one may need some updating. Yeah. The rocker even still feels good. Once I start climbing like this, that roundness is apparent really around the ball of the foot. So when I land there, I can feel the roll into the forefoot. But then once I do start climbing and transitioning into the forefoot, there is a good amount of ground feel under the ball of the foot. I'd say it starts transitioning fairly early. The midsole is not really chunky up through the ball of the foot. So you maintain some ground feel under the ball there, and the rocker is pretty gradual into the transition. There's not like a kind of very steep turn or flex at the front of the toes. Very gradual in the shoe. Patch of snow up on that peak over there. So you've got 38, 32 as measured here underfoot. The midsole foam is an EVA polyolefin blend. The polyolefin gives it some durability and also a bit more reactivity. I think this is a blend, or at least the olefin portion of it, which is used in Salomon shoes, some of their energy foams probably. Again, similar to the LD4, that one 31.25. You get decent stack, more underfoot here, but still similarly not an overly cushioned feel, not an overly soft feel, I should say, as I'm climbing here. Not getting the full rocker effect, but I am staying in the front portion of the rocker, just ahead of the midfoot, ahead of where that prominent section under the arch is. I'm not feeling like I'm really hitting a lever point at any point. I feel like I'm within a smooth transition, even on the climbing here. So this run here, I hope you're getting a sense of the adventure vibe already. I'm gonna primarily focus on the Sylan Pro here. I've got a mix of fueling stuff. I've got the Tailwind high carb. I also have a bunch of little scratch packets, SIS gel, precision gel, just a mishmash of stuff. So I'm not gonna really talk about that too much. So hear a lot about the shoe here as I go. I am working my way up the long climb here. Gonna have some spectacular scenery ahead. Don't tune out. It's gonna be beautiful. Want to take advantage of that creek crossing there. I think there's definitely going to be a bunch more, but it's finishing up my first 27-ounce blottle, which I have in the back of my Alpha vest here in the kangaroo pocket. I love that setup. 27 ounces, and I've got that hose running around the front here. So that's one thing. I had the Raide belt yesterday. I mean, that's a major difference between a belt and a vest. You know, with a vest, if you're using a bladder or a blottle or salt flask, whatever up front, obviously the nozzles are right next to your face. So that leads you to drinking more easily and therefore more regularly and consistently throughout the course of your run or race or whatever. With the Raide belt, or any belt for that matter, you have to, you know, you got to pull the bottle out of the back or maybe out of the front. It is an extra step, and those kind of small little extra things can kind of balloon when you're in a race, especially when you're tired. You're like, I'll just wait a little longer. I don't want to pull that flask out. It'd be great, and I've tried this with a different belt, the Instinct belt, having a bladder in the back and then running a little drink hose up to the front alleviates that complication, I would say. I will definitely experiment with that in the Raide belt. So quick fueling check. I'm almost done with that flask in the back. I had 60 grams of scratch, took one SIS gel, so I'm at a little less than 100 grams, an hour 8 in. The weight of the shoe here, 10.6 ounces. I think pretty reasonable given what you're getting underfoot here. The LD4 was 9.9, so you're 0.7 up, but You're at 38 under the heel here. You again have Vibram Mega Grip light base here in this version, and 6 mil lugs, full coverage rubber. So 10.6 ounces, creeping up towards 11, but low to mid 10s is still reasonable for an all day, all mountain shoe, especially given full coverage rubber and really a step up to 6 mil lugs. And there are a solid amount of lugs underfoot too. They did not skimp in that department. Protection underfoot has been great so far. No kind of relief from rocks in this run. There is no rock plate in this shoe. Ooh, this one rolled down pretty good. Wow, they did a spectacular job clearing this trail. Must have put a lot of work in out here after the fires last year. Look at this. This is great. So protection is excellent in this shoe. I'm not feeling anything underfoot. Again, you don't have that soft, squishy, mushy comfort feel here. More of a dense feel, but that gives you enhanced ground feel. Less of the foot kind of shifting around inside of the shoe. Again, in my last LD4 video, check that one out. I was talking about the difference in feel from pure kind of high stacked super shoes versus more kind of mid-range, mid-stacked, denser feeling mountain type shoes. And midsoles primarily, if you're in this terrain, you may not have the softness underfoot that you get with some of those super shoes, but with your foot moving around less, the denser cushioning, less kind of squishing of your foot back and forth, you may end up more protected in the long run. But you're gonna have to get used to a firmer ride if you are running in those real soft super shoes. Running through some patches of forest here before it fully opens up and head up to that saddle over there and over the top to Sawtooth Lake.
Digging and lopping stuff.
How long is it going to take you to clear out this giant section right here? Oh wow.
And ideally it'll just roll.
Rolled right down, yeah.
Yeah, so that first cut took the other two like probably about an hour.
Yeah, you're going to get wedged up and stuff. Oh, well, enjoy, I guess.
Yeah. Enjoy too.
This is a real exercise. They are working hard. I was just talking about that, and there they were. We really have to support some of these volunteer organizations. I mean, look what they're doing to allow access to these trails and these types of areas. Really amazing. Thank you so much. I'm going to put a link in description to their organization. Hey guys, rough and rugged out here. Yeah, this being a wilderness area, you cannot bring chainsaws out here. That's why they are hand sawing. Seem to be enjoying it. Free exercise, I guess. No gym membership required. I did want to mention the drainage, breathability of this shoe here. It is very good. Of course, socks are feeling a little bit wet, but with the Matrix upper, the shoes themselves don't seem to be holding too much. It's letting water out. I mean, the feet are wet when you go fully submerged like that. It's gonna take quite a while unless it's very hot, but no squishing or sloshing around inside of the shoe. So I'd say fairly good in terms of drainability. So 8 miles in An hour 38, about 2,700 feet of gain here. Just wanted to mention the fit of this shoe. I am loving it. That stiffness, touch of low volume over the front of the toe box seems to have lightened up a bit. Not too much, still feels actually kind of nice and secure holding my foot down. But, you know, an hour and a half in, bunch of creek crossings, full submersions there, has seemed to loosen up and break in the upper at least a little bit here. And it just feels really dialed to my foot. I've got a US 9.5 here. Again, Arc'teryx runs big. So I've got a 3/4 thumbs width up front, maybe close to a full in a true to size US 9.5. So I would recommend that. They have different kind of fit, comfort, precision. I forgot what the other one was, but this is their comfort fit. So I think they do adapt their sizing or the spacing around, especially the front of the shoe, the toe box, depending on the model of the shoe. And this being their kind of ultra running focus shoe, they did specify it's a comfort fit. So give you a little extra, I guess, bumper around the toe box compared to similarly sized models from Arc'teryx. Certainly their approach shoes, mountain shoes, and that kind of thing. Probably gonna do a refill up ahead here. Looks pretty fresh, I'll say. Just past 8,000 feet here. So getting a little high. Should be coming up on the lake somewhat soon. So I switch back my way up over the saddle here. A little forested section. I think there may be a few smaller lakes along the way. Little appetizers before we get to Sawtooth Lake. A little flattish rolling again here through this segment. Feel that rocker kicking in. Just turn the legs over. Feels very efficient, very smooth on the run. Even rolling through all these gravelly, rocky bits. Foot protection, really good. Dense foam, no plate. Those deeper lugs, again, full coverage outsole, 6mm lugs. Like here. Six mil Vibram lugs. That is definitely gonna help with protection for sure. Buffer a lot of impact underfoot. So I always find that's the case. Even if you don't have a rock plate in the mix, you know, you're an additional 6mm buffered off the ground, and plus, you know, the light base is a little thinner sole unit of the rubber there, but still, it's still extra between you and the ground. So even though you don't have a rock plate, it feels quite protective. I ran up through all those rocks, still going uphill, not a lot of downhill, very harsh impact, but I'll check that later on. But I didn't feel anything poking through to my foot. Feels very comfortable in terms of protection. A little bit of a rocky climb here to go before the saddle. Just up there, you can see it ahead. Makes me think of the Beaverhead race. Check out my last Q&A. I talk quite a bit about running the North Face Vective. Whew, kick the rock. Talk quite a bit about the Vective Pro 3 in that race and how it's a little bit unwieldy, and it was a more rugged scree field even than this. This is kind of light work compared to that race, but a shoe like this definitely feel more comfortable, even though it's 38, 32, still feels more strapped to the foot, feel more solid under this one, not as bouncy or as much action going on underfoot as with that North Face shoe. Feels more controllable here, and again, talking about earlier, just as protective. I'm not running fast here, and in the most rugged parts of Beaverhead, I also was not running fast. So the stability there, it's not a question. It's really more like maneuverability. How do you feel when you're going somewhat faster, or at least keeping moving? And as I am here, they feel great. Gonna add this one to the list of shoes that if I had to redo, I might have given strong consideration for a race running through this exact type of terrain for a lot of it. Ooh, yeah. Sawtooth Lake. How about that? I'm just around 8,500 feet right now. Spectacular. So let's just enjoy the scenery around this lake here. If you're for some reason not interested and only care about running shoes, you can truly skip ahead a chapter. But I'm gonna take this in for now. I don't know if I'll get back here soon, or hopefully I'll come back a lot more often, but you never know, maybe a year or two. So I'm gonna skirt around this lake on the opposite side, have a nice viewpoint back to where I came in, and then I'll go over one of those saddles through the burned area and back down. It's so nice out here today. Sunny. It's probably in the 80s. It is not blazing hot either. I'll probably stop for a shoe close-up right over there. Close-up with a view. How about that? Sounds nice. Look at the color of that water. Wow. I hope the color grading that this camera does is going to do it some justice here, but in any case, it's worth it to come out here for yourself. It is always 1,000 times better in person than what you're watching right now. Mount Reagan up ahead there. Dip my toes in the lake just for a second there. Have to say bye-bye to the lake until I get to that overlook around the other side. different little lake back there. I'll see, now I can see the path pretty good. I'm gonna head up there along that line and cross over on that saddle right there. I came through there, that small lake you can see in the distance. That's Mount Reagan right over there. I skirted the lake along this way. There's another trail back, it's called to Iron Creek this way. But I'm gonna head back over that way down towards Trail Creek. Woohoo! Oh yeah. This is trail running. This is nature, right? However you get here. This looks like a pretty sweet spot for a close-up. Take a little break here around 8,750 feet. I am 12 miles into my run here, 2.5 hours. Look where you can be in 2.5 hours under your own power. I talked about sizing US 9.5 here. True to size. Let's see, where's my thumb? My toe is right here, so I've got about 3/4, almost a full thumb's width up here. In the beginning, I didn't tuck my laces into this garage because I felt it would loosen up a little bit and then I'd have to retie, so didn't want to tuck them in right away. But as with the LD4, beautiful tucked laces here. You have this knit upper. I'm not sold on this collar. As you can see, look what happens when I lean forward. This gap opens up, so this is fairly, really not fitted at all. It might work well to kind of maybe deflect stuff from getting out of there, but look how I articulate my foot. It just opens right up. This is not a great kind of design here. They are coming out with version 2 spring, summer, so hopefully they could address this. It is like a booty type design similar to the Prodigio Pro, and the Prodigio Pro one is fairly tight around here. Nothing gets in there, so that's a legitimate useful one here. So if they could do whatever La Sportiva is doing, that will work out much better. Quick look inside the upper here. Not sure if I'll be able to get this. There's these kind of blue pads, the bolsters along the left and the right on the inside here, and they run like right here on the foot. I find heel hold is really good. There's nothing in the back. This back part right here, it doesn't continue and carry around there. But I don't find any issues with heel hold, nor do I get any irritation from the rear of this shoe. So I think it's pretty fine. I really like the heel design. It's a different, these pads are a little bit different. They seem to be like kind of add-on neoprene type pads back there. Definitely different than what I've seen before. This kind of setup where it's knit in the back with no bolstering right at the back by the Achilles, that has potential to be problematic in other shoes, but honestly, I didn't feel it at all. I'm not concerned with that in the slightest. It just feels great. There's no tongue here. This is a full booty design. This is really a similar setup to the Sportiva Prodigio Pro there, except the knit part carries through the tongue here, and on the inside, the lower part, this section, like from here to here, is knit over the top, and then it's kind of an engineered mesh, the rest of it. I think the Prodigio Pro, it's all mesh throughout on the inner booty there, so it seems to hold water. I mean, this is fairly wet now, but actually I just went in the water there. you have the matrix upper on the outside. So it's like a 2-layer setup here. I'm not finding it running warm at all. It's been quite good and comfortable. Again, I'm going through streams, so that's gonna probably affect how it feels or how warm it feels. But like the Prodigio Pro, similar setup. Prodigio Pro has that power wire on the outside and then the knit booty on the inside, but I find there's more volume of knit material in the Prodigio Pro. You have this vamp here. It doesn't seem particularly stretchy. It's not a neoprene though. It's kind of a harder material. So I'm not sure how much stretch you get, but I guess separating the upper here allows a little more play here. Again, you can see there's a little bit of puckering now. It seems to have broken in. In the beginning, it felt really like it was pressing down on the top here, and that definitely loosened up a little bit throughout this first run. Again, 12 miles in here, lots of water crossings. That helps loosen up an upper, but there's not a lot of give to it. I love a matrix upper. Just holds the foot so well. I'm tightening it a little bit more than I had initially. I kept this pretty loose in the beginning when it was squeezing me. Now, as it's kind of adapted, broken in a little, I'm sure that with the midsole, my foot is kind of, you know, breaking in the midsole a little bit. I'm gaining a touch more volume there, molding to my foot a bit. You can see the toe box here. Shape is excellent. Nice width in the forefoot. Again, this is their comfort fit. Rounds out to the front. Doesn't come to a sharp point. Stays round over here. Again, true to size, 9.5. I wouldn't size up in this even for long ultra runs. Feels great. It has this overlay here, as you can see. It's not on the outside there, just on the inside of the shoe. It's kind of similar to the VJ shoes, their Fit Lock strap, although this is just kind of a plasticky overlay. That one's a really thick plastic one in VJ. This seems to give support. I like how with the rocker design, the arch pushing up into my foot there, it really holds the foot well, and this probably helps give it good security. I really know good stability on the way up there. A couple rolling sections. We'll see how it feels on the descent. This is just, I'm not sure if it's a dual layer setup. It looks to be 2 different foams. Let me feel this out. Green. The blue may be a touch firmer, maybe. And this may be a touch softer. I have to check on that. But Raide has been excellent. Oh man, I'm loving this shoe for long mountain runs, which is what I'm doing today. All right, we're heading back down. This is, as I mentioned, I don't know, I call this Mars over here. There's a previous burn area. It's looking pretty rough back here. It is kind of an eerie feeling running over the backside over here. It's just so lush and green on the Barren Creek side coming up. Even with the burn last year, you've got that creek flowing through there. Then you head up to Sawtooth Lake, and the view there is just spectacular. Come over the top here and it's just almost feels otherworldly, just burnt out. It's so quiet. I am detecting a bit of wobble. This is extremely rocky here, extremely uneven. A lot of loose rocks and, you know, burnt out sticks and stuff. I'm detecting some wobble, especially under the middle of the shoe here, around the arch area. Just seems if I land in that spot, it definitely, there's not much flexibility. Foot kind of wants to go side to side, and definitely having me run a little bit more cautiously here. I don't know if it was this particularly rocky yesterday in the LD4, but I think there was more feel in that. And under the middle of the foot, less You know, no rocker obviously, so I just felt like I had overall more confidence in that shoe than this one in rockier terrain. And that may be just natural due to how the models are set up, this one being more mountain but runnable, and that one leaning more mountain with technical range, I would say. Don't get me wrong, very scenic and beautiful over here still. Looks like I have to cross this log. This is one of those very rocky, rugged sections, something that I talk about when choosing your shoe. You gotta think about what the majority of your run is gonna be. Might have to maneuver this shoe a little bit more through this section, massage it, manage it through this rocky stuff. Be a little bit more careful, but I did have 2.5 hours in the bank where this shoe has been excellent. So if I have to run through this kind of stuff, say for 20 minutes or so, or perhaps a more maneuverable mountain shoe, likely the LD4 would be ideal for this particular section. Okay, that's fine, but you got to think about the other 2.5 hours and maybe the potential 2 hours to come after you get through something like this. So, you know, the rocky, rugged parts tend to stick out in our head more often, but you want to be careful not to over-index on, you know, how rugged it really is. That being said, throw that all out the window if you go and run Beaverhead. That race is rugged, so think about stability, security, and foot protection over there if you go run that race. Whew. Have hit the saddle here. I am gonna wind my way down through here, and I think I skirt right under there. That's Observation Peak, and right through that little zone there, Trail Creek's intersection is, and those lakes are right over there where I was within the LD4 yesterday. I'll hang a right and run down Trail Creek back to Grand Jean in the start. Talked about that wobble through some of those rockier parts. Again, just chopping up my steps a little bit, being a little more careful where I'm placing my feet. Not really a big deal with that wobble. I feel like I can manage it pretty well, but I have to mention that the protection is good. So while there's a little bit of instability due to that rocker geometry through the more rockier sections, I am not feeling those rocks getting through to my feet. I have good ground feel in my forefoot, so in certain areas it's tougher on the downhill because you tend to lean back more, or at least get on the midfoot more. So it's tougher to be up on the forefoot. I have really good ground feel under the forefoot in this shoe. So at times, if it's more rolling, like kind of like as it is now, I could kind of key in more on landing up on the forefoot, and that gives me more feel naturally and less chance that I'm gonna land in a, you know, tilted spot and get thrown off of that midfoot rocker there. Get to see the switchbacks, zigzags on my way down there. Oh, there's somebody backpacking into. Gowan Lake, Stanley Lake, Trail Creek. That's kind of a weird sign because I'm not really sure. I know I gotta go this way. Hey, this trail ain't bad, huh? Woohoo! Broken out into some more runnable downhill terrain here, and the shoe is feeling spectacular. Love that matrix foothold, not having as much trouble with any kind of instability due to the rocker, because it's definitely more runnable. I can see everything ahead of me more easily. Let me get some water. Another little refresher over there. It's coming at the right time. Need a little refill, and it's warming up a little. Not too crazy though. So I like that bottle there. 27 ounces back there. Solid. That's a good amount to mix with that Tailwind high carb. 16 ounces is definitely pretty concentrated. So 27 is good to cut it, and 27 hours drinking, say, in 1 hour, that's a good amount of fluids in. With 90 grams, you're pretty rock solid in there. And then up the ante if you want to throw a gel in over the course of an hour there. Yeah.
What's your pace?
I don't know. I'm gonna make it around in, I don't know, 4 hours or so. So where are you headed?
We're headed to Observation Peak.
Oh, I've been up there.
Yay, we're excited.
You get through there. Have you been there? You get through there, and it's kind of steep up there, right?
Okay.
You get a good view.
We're scrambling and rambling. Yeah. We have no fear.
Okay.
We're good.
Day trip? You're camping, or?
No, we're just up and back.
Yeah. From Grand Jean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, Sawtooth Lodge.
This is a long way. I went up to the lakes yesterday and took a dip.
Oh,
cool.
that's so amazing.
If you have time, I don't know, jump in the lakes or whatever.
Yeah, down at Grand Jean, we can get in the river, and then we have the cold water as well as the hot springs right there too.
That's where we're camping. We're camping right along the river there, in an RV. So.
Oh, well, we'll see you tonight.
Okay. Are you in the lodge or wherever?
We're at the lodge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We go there every year, but we're gonna come, I think, around Labor Day. But this year we just came with the RV just to have a long weekend. Yeah.
Sounds good. Are you from Boise?
Yeah, I'm from Boise now, from New Jersey originally, but we're in Boise, so it's great to come out here from there.
Yeah, I bet.
These guys are having a good time, huh?
Oh yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Shade.
Shade there. Some fun ladies back there. They're also out on a day hike, heading up to Observation Peak, which is cool and quite steep, but they're almost there, so having a good time. Dogs look like they're having a good time too. I don't remember what my time scooting back down yesterday from that trailhead was. I think it's like an hour and a half or something, so I should be looking at a, I don't know, 4 hour, 4:15 on the timer. A little more elapsed. I took some goofing off breaks. Actually, talked to a lot of people along the way too. I have to point out, and I do have to include the LD4 shoe in this observation, since I just did about 14-15 miles yesterday in that one. So 30 miles in over the course of about 24 hours here, and my legs feel great. I mean, I guess impact absorption here, I'm definitely not feeling my legs being beat up or anything like that. Quite the contrary. I'm feeling quite fresh and pretty smooth on the descent here. both shoes, the LD4 and the Sylan here, seem to be just, I don't know, I guess they're just tuned right for this kind of terrain. So I really do hope you enjoyed this Arc'teryx mountain adventure once again. 2 in a row here. If you also watched the LD4, which I ran yesterday, you're seeing probably this one a few days later. This is not sponsored by Arc'teryx, by the way. I just happened to have these shoes in the testing queue and this trip lined up, so it worked out nicely. Thank you to Arc'teryx for sending me these shoes to test. Sincere thank you, because they've been great for this run. These runs, as usual, like and subscribe if you enjoy these types of videos. Please let me know down in the comments if you enjoy this type of adventure run / shoe review here, not just, you know, went a little heavier into the fun and the adventure as opposed to the pure reviewing aspect. So if you comment and let me know that these are fun to watch for you, it's just gonna gas me up to do more videos like this. I really enjoy it. This is so much fun, and I mean, reviewing a shoe out here while doing this, how bad could it get, huh? So check out the links in the description, of course. I've got that LD4 video, another previous Arc'teryx video with the Gore-Tex version, maybe some other related, say, mountain ultra shoes that I've done videos on or I will be testing, and I'll add those to the description below so you could see some related shoes for comparison. So if you did find these videos helpful and you choose to purchase these shoes, clicking through my affiliate links doesn't cost you anything. Help support the channel. Just a small thing. I'd appreciate it if you would click through, or even other shoes. Doesn't have to be this one. If you enjoyed my previous reviews, check the affiliate links. I usually have something. I'm gonna probably take you out with some more scenic clips from the rest of this run. Again, I'm working my way down Trail Creek here. I did this section in my run yesterday in the LD4, so try to find some fun clips if you want to stay tuned in. Maybe you're on the treadmill or the bike or something and you got a few extra minutes, and why not just watch some scenery for the rest of your run and ride. Again, thank you for watching. I'll see you out on the trails.